What is going on, guys? The NFL Draft is pretty much the single largest non-sports sporting event out there. Even the NBA Draft, which has a ton of star power in its own right, pales in comparison to the showmanship that we have come to expect from the NFL's draft. But that being said, not all of the entertainment that comes out of the NFL Draft is intentional. Sometimes there's awkward moments, and they definitely come in many forms. The type of blooper we're focused on today are botched pick announcements. Here are the 9 worst in NFL Draft Day history. Number 9, Jim Brown thinks it's 2013. Alright, this is kind of a tough one here. We should probably cut Jim Brown some slack. After all, he was born in 1936, and as far as I'm concerned, anyone in their 80s that still has it in them to trek out to an event like the NFL Draft and make a public announcement deserves some credit, especially a former football player who played over a decade in the NFL, before the Super Bowl even existed.
With the 46th picks in 2013 NFL Draft, the Cleveland Browns select Greedy Williams.
Between all those hits he took along the way to 9 consecutive All-Pro seasons and his age, it is kind of a small miracle that he could all-rate the pick to begin with. Now, Brown did have a run as the color analyst on the NFL telecast in the late 70s, so he does have some professional experience. But I think all in all we can give him a pass for thinking it was still 2013 during the 2019 NFL Draft. Number 8, Redskins draft the same player twice and he's not eligible either time. It seems like every year there are certain NFL franchises that always manage to find a way to embarrass themselves on a national stage. And uncoincidentally, it is continually the same teams over and over again, like the Washington Redskins, the once storied franchise that took home 3 Lombardi trophies in 10 years. They have since developed into one of those organizations that has become downright addicted to turning itself into a punchline. And even with all the pre-Dan Snyder success in the organization, apparently there is a deep origin story to the Redskins' follies that dates all the way back to 1946, when the franchise pulled off an all-time dumb move on draft day, huddled into a New York hotel with the other team owners. Washington selected Cal Rossi, UCLA's star running back. He was coming off a season in which he averaged 7.1 yards per carry, and Washington was smitten, proceeding to take him with the 9th overall pick in the draft. The only problem, he wasn't even eligible for the draft because in those days, players had to complete 4 years of college, not the 3 that he had. To make matters worse, the Redskins used another first-rounder on him the following year, once he was actually eligible, only to have him enlist in the armed service and never play a down of football in the NFL. Number 7, the Falcons select Brett Favre. Even some of our younger fans should know who Brett Favre is, the gunslinger from Mississippi, who famously led the Green Bay Packers offense for well over a decade, after an abrupt trade following his fallout with the team personnel during his rookie season in Atlanta. Favre's name is littered throughout the NFL record books, and he deserves a lot of credit for helping to revolutionize the game of football, as he was slinging the ball all over the field well before the passing-crazed era of football we have today. But as famous as Favre is now, that was not always the case. He played his college ball at a relatively small school, Southern Miss, and when he was taken with the 33rd overall pick in '91, his relative obscurity became clear, as his name was pronounced Brett Favre.
Atlanta has selected Brett Favre, quarterback, Southern Mississippi.
I mean, I have to give the speaker a little bit of a break on this one. If you didn't know who Brett was and just stumbled across his name with that ridiculous F-A-V-R-E spelling, which I still get wrong all the time, it is understandable why you might pronounce it Favre or Favre.
What about Brett Favre?
Both of which make a lot more sense than its actual pronunciation. I have to be honest, there are some names that I read on TPS that are like so out there, so out of the blue, and so ridiculously pronounced compared to its spelling. It's so annoying, and then you guys chirp me in the comments that I got the name wrong. Really? Like, do you really expect me to pronounce Tua Tagovailoa's name properly the first time that I've seen it? Like, dude, get out of here.
I know more sports than you.
Shut up. Number 6, Kevin Falk accidentally announces an offensive lineman as a linebacker. I can't help but feel like part of the reason that so many of these draft announcements end up getting botched is because the teams have their former players step up and announce some random 3rd round pick. I bet you if Cleveland had sent up Jim Brown to announce the Baker Mayfield pick, he would have landed it no problem. But if you were announcing the 78th overall pick in the draft, like Kevin Falk was doing for the Patriots, it's easy to slip up. Even for a former 2nd round pick like Falk, a late 3rd round announcement is below his pay grade. The guy won 3 Super Bowls. Anyway, when making the aforementioned 78th selection on the Patriots' behalf, Falk made it through the first half of the announcement without incident. You know, introducing himself, the team, and the player. He did happen to stumble on one pretty significant detail though, as he miscategorized Joe Thuney, the offensive lineman, as a linebacker.
Select Joe Thuney, linebacker, North Carolina State.
What do you think, Coach? Joe Tooney, now another offensive lineman here.
Yeah, not even close. But again, mistakes happen. We've all made our mistakes before. I have made my mistakes here at TPS. It happens. Don't judge us. I'm not judging him, but he is on the list. So, whatever. Number 5, Booker REESE incident in Tampa. Yo, the absolute botch job that was the Booker REESE incident is on a short list of the most inexplicably inept moves that any NFL team has ever made. It shouldn't come as a huge surprise to anyone that has followed professional football for any amount of time that the mistake in question was made by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who up until their recent signing of Tom Brady were the poster child for dysfunction in the NFL. I mean, aside from like the Jets, the Redskins, the Bengals, and like, I don't know, who else should we put on there? Thinking of a team. Oh, and the Lions. Duh. How could I forget them? During the 1982 draft, Tampa Bay was planning on taking a small school defensive end that had shot up their draft board, Booker REESE. But because they are the Bucs, they decided to entrust the announcement and official selection duties to the team's equipment manager. What could possibly go wrong? Dude, like, you might as well have the water boy do it. But I could tell you what went wrong. When the team's execs relayed the information, there was a breakdown in communication, and the wrong pick was turned in. Again, the wrong pick was turned in. So instead of Tampa taking REESE, they ended up with Penn State offensive lineman Sean Farrell. REESE never amounted to much in the NFL, so you might think that Tampa Bay had stumbled into some serendipity. But far be it from Tampa Bay to leave well enough alone. Instead, they ended up trading a future first-round pick to take REESE at the top of the second round, as he was in a draft day freefall. Classic Tampa. Number 4, Marcus Mariota. We have taken it upon ourselves to give some of the guys on this list a bit of a break. That's fair. I think it is at least. I mean, after all, it's not like they are trained to do this. Like me, who still makes mistakes. It happens all the time, and you guys don't let me forget it in the comments like I said earlier.
Jason, you said this guy's name wrong. You're not a true sports fan. You don't know sports.
Shut up.
But these guys aren't the executives in the meeting rooms all year long, sifting through countless draft picks before settling on the player whose name they butchered. So it is somewhat understandable if they had a slip-up. But when you are the commissioner of the NFL, oh boy, and you're announcing the second overall pick in the entire draft, you might want to take the time to indulge in a couple of pre-draft rehearsals to ensure that you can make your announcement without incident, especially when you are ridiculed and dragged as often as Roger Goodell is. But apparently, that thought never crossed Goodell's mind. And when he went to announce the Tennessee Titans were taking Marcus Mariota with the second overall pick, he all but served himself up on a gold platter to his haters by mangling Mariota's name.
With the second pick in the 2015 NFL Draft, the Tennessee Titans select Marcus Mariota.
Mariota? Marioto? Roger, what are you trying to say there, bud? It's pronounced Mariota. It really doesn't even make sense when he tried to sound out his name, but I guess he might have read it quick or something. Who knows? Number 3, Michael Ealy forgets what year it is. Like Commissioner Goodell, our next selection does not have a particularly good excuse for botching his opportunity to announce a pick for the Redskins. But I mean, after all, Michael Ealy is a professional actor. I mean, you'd think all those reps in Barbershop or Too Fast, Too Furious would have translated when Washington put him on a podium in DC to announce their 4th round pick. The running back they drafted, Samaje Perine, actually has a rather tricky name to pronounce. I actually just had to look that up. So we're not surprised that Ealy had a problem with it. Most would have trouble there. What is surprising though, is just how badly Michael tripped up when referring to the draft as the 217 NFL Draft.
With the 114th pick in the 217 NFL Draft, Samaje Perine!
He was probably really nervous. That's 2 mistakes in 1 draft pick announcement. So sorry, Michael, but you will not be afforded the same leniency as 84-year-old NFL Hall of Famer Jim Brown. Come back when you're 84 and then we'll talk. Number 2, Vince Young butchers Harold Landry's name. There was a time, not too long ago, where Vince Young was supposed to be the future of the Titans. I mean, the guy was considered to be a lock coming out of Texas. He was their 1st round pick in 2006, and the 3rd overall pick in the draft. Having just won an epic national championship game against a much reviled USC team, led by Reggie Bush and Matt Leinart, Young seemed poised for a long, successful career in the NFL. He got off to a good start too, winning Rookie of the Year honors. But somewhere along the way, he got lost and never lived up to his potential in the NFL. And while Vince's time in Tennessee didn't pan out exactly how Tennessee, or Vince, for that matter, expected it to, and they certainly did not separate on good terms, at least they brought him back into the fold to announce a draft pick for them. The heartwarming gesture, like his time in Tennessee, was far from smooth sailing though. Young was all set to announce that the Titans had taken Harold Landry III, a linebacker out of Boston College, when just like his sophomore slump in the Music City, trouble arose out of nowhere.
With the 41st pick, the Tennessee Titans select Honor Landry from Boston College.
Honor Landry. I'm not even sure what Vince was trying to say here. It did present a good opportunity for the internet to get some jokes off at the former quarterback's expense though. Don't you love the internet? You know what? You guys should roast me. Go tweet at me and roast me. Do it. After realizing his mistake, Young quickly took to Twitter to make amends, and Landry played it off like a champ, considering Landry is still making plays for the Titans and their exciting young defense. I guess all's well that ends well with this one. Number 1, Tony Richardson can't spell Jets. Tony Richardson's slip-up when announcing the Jets' third-round pick was truly epic. I mean, the whole situation is hysterical. First of all, only the Jets would enlist a player that played 3 years at the end of his career for them to announce a pick at the draft. If only the brevity of his stay in New York was a viable excuse for butchering his attempt to work in the Jets chant that echoes through the Meadowlands on Sundays. They literally chant it every Sunday over and over, and you still can't spell it right? What? Dude, but alas, we are left with a ridiculous video of Richardson putting an errant E at the end.
2017 NFL Draft, the New York Jets select Ardarius Stewart, receiver, Alabama.
What? I think my favorite part of this clip is that you almost see him realizing a mistake was made. How do you do that? God, it's so stupid. But he consciously chose to keep charging forward with the same tenacity that made him a Pro Bowl halfback. Did I mispronounce any names on this list? Roast me in the comments down below. Make sure to follow myself and TPS on social media. We post great content all the time. Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. We're on everything. YouTube as well. Go find us. We're everywhere. You know, subscribe. Give us some clout. You know how it goes. Give us some more clout by giving us a like down below. Give us some more clout by subscribing to TPS because we post videos every single day. Give us some more clout by, you know, just watching all of our videos and, you know, all that stuff. You know what I'm talking about. All right, no one's even watching right now anyway, so it's fine. Of course, thank you so much for not watching. I'm Jason Biondo. I'll see you next time.
My knees.